Welcome to the honeystocks.com stock market analysis for the weekend of the 13th of April 2019. Just before I get started, I will probably only take about 15 minutes of your time. I have around 15 charts that I feel like should be on your radar for the forthcoming week. Hopefully it makes you some good profits. Hopefully there's some good ideas for you. And yeah, as always, really important, please pause the video, check that out. Important disclaimer as always. But as I said at the start, this is for those of you that are maybe looking for a few trade ideas for next week. It's maybe for some of you that feel like you're being sucked into a black hole on Wall Street. Maybe you're learning from losses. Maybe you feel like you're pushing a rock up a hill. Maybe you're learning from YouTube. Whatever your deal is, there are ideas here that I feel like will assist you in making hopefully a little bit of profit in the next week or two. So if you are somebody that struggles really badly, stick around for a couple of minutes at the end. There may be something that we can do to help you. But rather than me go on and ramble on, I think it's probably just a good idea for me to get started. Now, first up this week, we have Delta Airlines. Now, I think the chart really speaks for itself. Most of you will know already that there's a lot going on in the background with technical analysis that I obviously have to remove from the presentation. But I think for the purposes of simplicity, I think all we really need to be concerned about is optimal entries into the market. And certainly, I feel like if Delta Airlines starts to move through $60, moves above this very clear area of resistance, I think that might be worth a bit of consideration. Next up, we have Ball Corp. Now, Ball Corp has been performing incredibly well since we hit here. I think it was around $42, $43. It's obviously kicking through the levels. It's on a very good uptrend, as we can see since way back at $35. So it's moving well. It looks like it's starting to build a bit of a base like it did last month. And we all know the saying by now, the bigger in base, the higher in space. So I feel like Ball Corp, provided that this base holds, is something that might warrant a little bit of consideration. Next up, we have Care Trust. Again, we're very close to breaking out above $25. I think if we get continuation in the next few days, then that may well be a stock that comes onto the radar. Obviously, with any of the trade ideas here, you need to do your own due diligence. You need to make sure that any trade fits with your own individual trading plan, with your rule set. And yeah, you obviously need to be comfortable with everything. And certainly I feel like with a breakout, provided we get the necessary technicals aligning and provided we get continuation for price, certainly I think above 25 looks very appealing. MasterCard, again, another excellent linear uptrend. We have had a bit of a pullback recently, has offered a little bit of opportunity, but again, we're really just hoping for a continuation, and we hope that MasterCard will start to now move towards 250. Those of you that are a bit more on the conservative side may wish to wait for the $250 significant round number to clear, but provided that clears, then I feel like MasterCard will probably start on another move and hopefully start to move towards 300. Now, I've had so many messages and emails about this one over the last 7 days. Now, it's very clear that technicals are in play here. We've got very clear upper resistance and we've got lower support here. So this is perfectly normal. Now, the question really is, which way does Square Inc. go? Do we go up or do we go down? Now, it's very easy from a technical perspective to take a position here, because if we get a break to the upside, absolutely there's a very good risk to reward being offered. We are all about favourable risk to reward propositions at honeystocks.com, and certainly by taking a buy position on a breakout here, it just makes sense on many levels. There is an incredible encyclopedia for chart patterns by Thomas Bulkowski. And the chart pattern that we're looking at here, depending on whether we get a break to the upside or a break to the downside, is generally quite a favorable pattern. So certainly, whatever way it breaks, which will probably be Monday, maybe Tuesday, yeah, I think this is certainly one to watch, and I trust the chart explains why. Next up, we have Okta. Now, most of you will probably know that my trading group got an alert for this sent out when we had this pullback here. Lo and behold, it's kicking through the levels incredibly well. Incredible profits being made. However, we are now approaching the significant round number of $100. So certainly for those of you that are maybe looking to take a new position, it's kind of in the middle of no man's land at the moment. It's not really offering any sort of risk to reward proposition. It's not really offering any kind of technical entry. So I feel like if you're looking for a new entry, set that alert for $100 and wait and see what happens. For those of you that are perhaps in the trade, as it starts to move towards $100, just be mindful of potential resistance. Again, another one that I've had a lot of messages on in the last couple of days. One of my clients had a 300% move in his options on Walt Disney this week, which was just incredible. Obviously, this is the entry. Clearly this resistance dates back to 2015. So there's obviously a huge fundamental play here. I'm not a fundamental guy. I'm 90% technical, 10% fundamental. I keep an eye on earnings reports. It's very difficult now to get an entry into Disney. Now this could absolutely fly off in a rocket ship. If we get continuation on Monday and we blast through $130, absolutely, but you have to be mindful of momentum and what the momentum indicators are telling us. For me, it represents a bit of a risk. Certainly, I feel like with the moving average that we have way down here, there are a few other moving averages that are also way down here. So there's not any sort of high probability pullback environment either. It's very difficult to get a technical entry into Walt Disney. If you believe in the company and you feel like it's going to blast towards 150, 200 and so forth, good on you. But for me, I'm looking for optimal entries into the market, and Disney doesn't really offer that at the moment. I think if we get a pullback, certainly it might be worth consideration. There are tools that we can use that can help us to identify high probability pullback environments, and I will certainly be building this into my chart. However, very difficult for those of you that are looking to get in on Disney at the moment. Next up, we have JD.com. JD has been performing very well. Obviously, Chinese tech. Most of you will know that I'm bullish Chinese tech, and I have been for a couple of weeks. It's moving sideways. It's not doing a great deal, but we are still technically in a good uptrend. So, as the chart says there, if we start to move towards its previous highs, we've got a very good 70% upside potential there. And like I said before, it's about good risk to reward propositions, and I feel like JD is still certainly offering that at the moment. There is clearly an exit there if we don't get the continuation and the momentum rising. There is a very clear stop loss that we should be using here. But certainly I am still bullish on China, which means that I am still bullish on JD at the moment as well. And we also have here PayPal. Now, again, my guy's got an alert for this at $100. It's performing very well. It's up 8% in the last few weeks. Now, depending on what you're trading, whether you're buying the underlying asset or whether you're trading options, there's obviously good profits in there. For those of you that are maybe looking for the next entry, you do have to be mindful of earnings season, but certainly I feel like above 110 would be the next entry. So set an alert for $110 and wait and see what happens there. Now, that's the first few charts. I do have about another 7 or 8 more, but if you're maybe watching this and this is the first time that you're watching my presentations, you're maybe thinking, what the hell is this? Well, I have an emphasis on optimal entries into the market. Once we can identify optimal entries into the market and we take high probability moves, quite often we see price advance in our favor, which enables us to obviously generate profits and so forth. There's probably many of you out there that maybe don't have the consistency. Maybe you're trading on hope. Maybe you don't have any technical knowledge. Maybe you're trading on fundamentals with zero success. Maybe you keep adding to losing positions, which is nearly always a bad idea. So if you don't understand technical analysis, I think given the way the market is now, especially with the way that algorithms generally will run the market, I feel like if you don't understand technical analysis, you're essentially doing that. You're really, chaining yourself to a huge steel ball, and it's very, very difficult nowadays. Gone are the days where you could just buy a good company and just let it run. I think nowadays technical trading is just the way forward. It's the way that certainly everybody that I know that's a success, they all have the technical mindset and they all have the technical tools in their locker in order to make good and consistent decisions. So certainly I would urge you to consider technical analysis if you're not a technical person at the moment. But yeah, those are the first couple of charts. Like I said, if you stick around till the end, I do have a couple of minutes where I might have some solutions for you if you do want to take things perhaps to the next level. But in the meantime, if you are enjoying this video, if you do like the presentation, if you like the trade ideas, feel free to jump on and subscribe to us on YouTube. It's a pretty new channel, and obviously we're looking to grow it as much as possible. We do like to throw out some good technical analysis insight, some good market insight, and hopefully you get a lot of knowledge from it and a lot of insight. But rather than me rambling on, let me just get through the next few charts. Now, I'm going to quickly touch on the overall market at the moment. Now, the S&P 500 has obviously been moving beautifully. For those of you that don't know, I was very bearish on the market. When it started its decline, back in October, shall we say. But certainly since then, we've got the expected move to the upside. It's moving through the levels. But like I said here, you need to be aware. You need to be aware of earnings season at the moment, because that has another aspect that you need to be considering, because you need to have your specific rules in place for earnings season. You don't want to be gambling. You don't want to be taking positions and hoping earnings is a good one, because that is just a recipe for complete disaster. So S&P 500, there's still a little bit of room for it to go until we meet resistance. And obviously, if we get a move to the upside, that is going to correlate with the overall market, which means the stocks are going to go up and so forth. But we do have to be mindful of other, key technical levels here. But certainly S&P 500, not any major concerns at the moment over the medium term time horizon, which is what I work in. Again, tech very close to breaking out. No major concerns. We might get a little bit of a pullback, but certainly, I'm bullish on the market at the moment. And the Dow, again, very similar, just waiting for resistance to clear, and then hopefully the market takes the next leg up. So That's certainly something that we need to consider as part of our decision making. And that leads us on into a few more stocks. Now, first up, we've got Palo Alto Networks. Again, we had a gap up, I think, on positive earnings. It had a decline, which is very typical of earnings season. Most of you will know my earnings strategy and how I look to take advantage of these dips. But certainly, I think if we clear the next hurdle at 250, I feel like it will probably start to move through the levels. So I would suggest setting an alert for maybe 251 and seeing what happens thereafter. Now, the blog that I sent out a few days ago regarding semiconductors, now we are now looking like we might potentially be breaking out in semiconductors. Now, what that means for me is I will be looking to identify strength within this individual sector. And lo and behold, I've got a couple of charts for you to consider. Texas Instruments, I think if you set an alert for 120, and obviously consider the technicals at that point in time. I'm not saying to you that you should jump in on this as soon as it hits 120. Absolutely not, because you may not have an optimal entry. So certainly set an alert for 120, 121 and see what happens. This is one that is moving incredibly well, XLNX. Excellent linear uptrend. We've broken out. We look like we've got a bit of continuation. So the expectation is we get a move to the upside. Possibly a little bit of a pullback entry might be attractive there, but certainly, again, do your own due diligence. We also have Marvel Technology Group. Now, this is another semiconductor play. Again, I think we need to be looking at it above $25. When we look left on the chart, it's not massively appealing. However, we do have to be respectful of 52-week highs. And I feel like a breakout above 25 may well be attractive. So it does have the look of being a bit overextended at the moment. So, whether it gets above 25 is anybody's guess, really. But certainly I would be setting an alert for it. And now we also have Zynga. Now, Diana, obviously this is your first ever technical trade. Well done. Getting in on the pullback here. And it's obviously started to move in your favor. You're in profit. Great. For those of you that are looking for an entry into the market here, provided we get continuation, but you do need to be mindful of the overall chart. 2012 resistance at $6. So for the conservative amongst you, it may well be worth just setting an alert for $6 and waiting to see what happens, I suppose, thereafter. So obviously there's a lot of charts there for you to consider. Hopefully you've found a bit of use for it. But maybe for those of you that do struggle, maybe for those of you that don't have the necessary understanding of, the full range of technical analysis that goes into making consistently good decisions, I understand that the path for a trader is a very difficult one, and it's a very lonely one at the same time. And I think when you have an understanding of the overall market and when you have an understanding of technical analysis, it does make things a lot easier. And one of the questions that you should maybe ask yourself is maybe how much happier, would your life be if you could learn to just cut out all the noise and make, incredibly good decisions. Again, what if you didn't feel like you were at the total mercy of the stock market day after day after day? How good would that be? And if you were able to build a trading plan, maybe had a rule set, and you were able to implement that for the rest of your life, how much easier would your decision making be, and how much would that translate into consistency, and thereby how much would that generate profits? Now, if this is your first time here, you might not know who I am, but I'm Sam and I run honeystocks.com. I have an education company. I teach the art of technical analysis. For those of you that wonder about performance, I track every single trade idea that I post into my client group. I usually update this every week, every second week, just when I can be bothered, really. But that was 2018. Which, as you can see, you can go in and have a look at the charts that I posted. They're all logged on my website for complete transparency. That's 2019, which, as you can see here, I very much have a quality over quantity approach. I'm not somebody that will throw out a trade idea to my client group and say, look, guys, you've got 3 minutes to act on this trade idea. What I provide is a support system in addition to the education that I provide. I view the trade ideas that I provide as simply a bonus, but I teach complete independent thinking. I will teach you how to stand on your own 2 feet. I will teach you how to identify your own trade ideas, how to identify your own optimal entries. It's very important to me that those that are integrated into my client group have the same understanding and have the same knowledge that I do, and obviously that translates into success and ultimately profits. And I also know that if you are someone that's scouting around social media, I also know what the journey looks like because I used to do it too. You'll hunt around social media trying to find the holy grail, and you could spend easily a couple of years doing that. You'll be learning from losses, you'll be learning from YouTube, you'll be trying to read books to pick up all this knowledge that ultimately doesn't really help, because what we have at that point then starts to become information overload, and you'll actually find that you've accumulated all this knowledge, but it will actually stop you from pulling the trigger at the appropriate time. So certainly that is the journey, and I also know that ultimately 95% of traders essentially give up, and eventually you'll just say that to the market, which is the frustrating thing, because I understand that trading doesn't need to be complex, it doesn't need to be difficult. It can be made simple. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but we can simplify the process. And at honeystocks.com, we genuinely believe in making a difference. You can go on and have a look at the website, check out our testimonials. These are all individuals that are part of our client group. And the question you maybe need to start asking yourself is, do you want to keep doing it the old way? Maybe you're inconsistent, maybe you don't generate as much profit as what you would like. Maybe you would just like to learn a new technical approach. Whatever your deal is, it starts with really asking that question. Do you want to keep doing it the old way, or do you want to learn a new way? And if you are someone that is interested in learning a new way, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is jump onto our website, honeystocks.com, click on apply, choose a time, tell me what you struggle with. It's very, very straightforward. We will jump on a call for maybe 20 minutes, we'll have a conversation, and quite a lot of the time during these conversations, I can actually help somebody to make little small adjustments to improve trading results, etc. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to come in and jump into our program or be part of our group. Whatever your deal is, if you are someone that genuinely struggles and you would like to have a chat with someone, maybe you don't have access in your city or your town, maybe you don't have access to somebody, by all means, jump on, just book a call with me. Tell me what you struggle with, be as detailed as possible, because it does cut down a lot of the time that it takes to figure out. If you can just be clear with what you struggle with, it really does help me to kind of just simplify obviously the process of having a conversation and so forth. But if you are someone that's stuck around to the end and you are interested in perhaps having a conversation with us, from the bottom of my heart, Thank you very much for watching, and I genuinely hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.